Good evening and welcome to Psychic the Plans. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course, I'm sitting down with my operations manager, Techie Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing well. How are you this afternoon?
Halfway insane,
Oh,
possibly fully. We're not sure yet. We'll get there.
hmm, all right.
Um, well, it's been a lot this month, and things have massively changed, mostly for the better, I think. But what do you think, living the Thursday? So far, we've done this since what? Friday morning? Thursday morning?
Mm, yeah, Friday morning, I think it was.
Yeah,
So you made some revisions to your scheduling,
I did.
and cranked up some hours.
Mhm.
So yeah. Um, so far it's going well.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we're not doing bad.
We're not doing badly, but let's explain what we've done before I share the calendar, and then we'll be doing the schedule.
Oh,
So I work for a platform called Life Reader. Life Reader is on Australian time. I think it's Melbourne. Um, and I've been really wanting to develop this platform a lot more. To do that, I kind of need to be in their time zone when they've got network readings going.
mhm.
I also have at least two, possibly three projects currently running, and I wasn't hitting deadlines. I wasn't hitting deadlines because they just weren't getting done. We were getting lost in the weeds and all that. So I said to you, what if I change my schedule? We bump up my work hours to 68.5, and that's work hours. And, we make sure that I do many days off. We make sure that, I still have my fun time and I get a minimum of 7.5 hours sleep. And you're like, well, we've never done this before. And I'm like, what the hell? Let's give it a shot.
Well, it's not that we've never done that before. That's the overarching plan.
Right,
Is to get you work hours plus get
right,
you 7 hours of sleep.
right.
That's always the goal. It's just sometimes some plans have worked out better than others. This one in particular, though, um, you went from getting up at 1 o'clock
Mm-hmm,
to generally getting up at 5 o'clock
mm-hmm.
p.m.
PM.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So you're not in bed till 10 most.
most days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's some wonkiness with it because there are some wonky things that occur. Um, just things that occur.
right.
So we do have to work around those.
Mm-hmm,
But predominantly,
right.
dumb.
All
It's
right.
a 10 to 5 sleep schedule and then a roughly network 10 p.m. to 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm,
with some things going on in the middle of it.
right.
Yeah.
It'd be like running a store of my own, but on an exact opposite. And when I was everything into planner, I'm like, I might be able to actually use a normal off-the-shelf planner now.
Swap around the AMs and PMs and quite possible.
Yeah, if they do not have AMs and PMs in them. If they start putting AMs and PMs in there, we're screwed. Um, just saying.
Yeah.
So we've reversed that. We've seen a drastic uptick in what I needed to get done.
Mhm.
And we're not doing this constant rescheduling of my sleep. That was the other thing that was occurring that was not good for me.
Yeah, a lot of bounciness on the sleep. Sleep's
Mhm.
been very all over that.
Right.
Now, granted, this doesn't fix all of that, but
No.
it's really contained to 2 days.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So Mondays and Saturdays, your sleep is a little off, but
just this Saturday.
Oh, just this Saturday because of Psychic Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday that's wonky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mondays there's no avoiding because even if I don't have my telehealth or were to go out for it, you have to be up to go to the gym.
Right.
So unless you want to talk to Jesse and reschedule.
And I may see about rescheduling it to later in the evening if he has the availability. Yeah, but still at the same time, it would still be getting up for the telehealth.
It would. Well, but I was saying that like I can make other arrangements on that.
Right.
Alternatively, you may also want to talk to him about early mornings.
True. Oh, he doesn't get in until 10 though.
Oh, then never mind.
I don't want to stay up late for him.
Okay. Well, I was just asking, or just putting it out there, more importantly. That might give you more flexibility with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he who is a day shifter, that you'll now actually be awake in some of the early mornings.
Right. And, you know, this just feeds into Brenda's vampiralism in about a month, but that'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, he never sees daylight at all.
I do. In the winter months, I still see daylight. It's just on the opposite end of my day.
What daylight? No.
All right, so let's dig in here. You guys will notice that this is not the planner we've been in this month. This is not my new September planner. It's the experiment planner. Because I've switched over some other things that I've been doing. I.e., I brought back the notebook. Instead of printing day pages, I just write it out. This is working better for me. And I'm going to keep just using the notebook because then I can just go in there and scribble. And sometimes because what we plan here isn't always what occurs or what has been occurring. And we need to work on that.
Absolutely.
All right, let me see if I can bring this down some without losing everybody. Can I? Yeah. This camera's getting replaced. Time to order another one. Okay.
I keep thinking, though, you might have a different option.
Okay.
Why not take the camera from the office computer, replace the camera that you hate, and bring the camera you hate in here because you almost never do video in the office.
Right. The only thing I do is
Zoom your background.
Well, true. You're right. So yeah, I probably should do that. Not right now, but next show, guys.
I'm just saying, save $75.
And this is 75.
Oh, did cameras come back down again?
Yep.
Oh, you can't be serious.
Yeah, Walmart has it for like 34. All right. So of course we're still on Monday.
$36.90.
Yeah.
What the hell? Is it bad that I know the camera make and model well enough to just pop over?
I don't think it's bad at all. All right, so this is the test planner. It's also my project planner. We are still on a Monday start vertical line, but this is a full page planner. And I may do this for September because September is going to be insane. Like the launches we've got going on, the projects I've got going on, the meetings I'm in, I may need this space. We start at 4 p.m. and then I truncated my mornings. And you see this in some planners. I got rid of the half hours because there is nothing I'm scheduling at 6:30 in the morning unless there's an appointment. And I can notate that here.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So let's do some basics. Let me bring up our command calendar. And yes, this one is digital because I can move my post-it notes around a lot easier there. All right, so yeah, I get up at 5 except Monday and Saturday. So we will remove the things we do not need. That's here. But no, how bad was it shifting my schedule?
Other than the momentary confusion, because you're like, here's what we're doing. And it's like, okay. Rest of the week, we're going to follow the schedule I've already set up for next week. Mm-hmm. There was kind of a moment there where it was like, okay, but how do I want to interpret this?
Right.
Because there were some like starting glitchings. So right. It was kind of like, all right, we're going to play this by ear. And it worked.
Yeah.
Good decisions were made.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And like we've been balancing things out, and seeing where things are. Like it. Oh, and of course, on Sundays I get up a half hour early for the show.
You do. Yeah. That's not so bad.
No. All right. And the boxes thing decided to reappear today, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
But no, household-wise, because everything I do affects the household. How do you think it's going household-wise?
We're probably gonna have to put some work in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just a game of playing catch-up.
Right. Because everything was not getting done, and it wasn't anyone's fault. It's just there wasn't enough hours in my day because I was constantly tired, constantly, I won't say jacking things up, but constantly just not getting them in order.
That's fine.
Yes, we've killed a page, guys. And that's the most horrible sound you guys will ever hear in the planner community, and it's me ripping paper out. Like, people have nightmares over that. But, yes, it was in the sticker book. It wasn't in the planner. We aren't trashing the planner. So this is the last week we will be in August. How was our August as a household?
I think it was starting off pretty good, and then this past week it kind of like it took a turn.
Uh-huh. Talk about it. We had made some progress and things were getting done around the house. Right.
And so some changes were occurring there. And then unfortunately after a very long car ride, I ended up having to take a few days off.
Right.
So that 1-2 coupling of like you hadn't been well rested, and you know there wasn't a lot of things I could do. It did kind of throw a wrench.
It did. All right. So we're going to do some sticker surgery to give the extended boxes I need here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the one thing I don't like about the planners, is like the boxes that are supposed to fit there don't fit there. And that's on it. Like, there's no way around it. Like, Happy Planner is just making boxes that don't fit, and even though these are older boxes, they still don't fit.
Which is interesting. Like, sometimes it makes you wonder, are they actually trying out the stickers they make?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Joe and the Invisible are trying not to disturb the beast. It's interesting. And this is where it gets interesting on that factor, Brenda. They can basically set off an atom bomb after the first hour the beast has been in bed. It takes a lot to wake me up until I've had my 5 hours. And
then he wakes up pretty easy.
Yeah. Then I'll wake up. And then if they would just turn the TV on and leave it on, I won't even wake up then. I'll think it's some siren on the TV and go on. All right. So 3 p.m., 2 p.m., 1 p.m. So there's that. For those wondering, Psychic Saturday is this Saturday. So go ahead and get your appointments booked. There are some already filled in. That's the way it's going to cookie crumble. All right, so morning routine, and then at 5, and then dinner's at 6.
Mm-hmm.
And that looks to carry all week, basically.
Yes. And I think we'll push after the 5 p.m. shows instead of before.
Okay. Cool. Which you've took over cooking and doing amazing with it. Like, I'm been very well fed, guys. Like, there's a nice variety. It's not all macaroni and tomatoes. It's been a lot of good food.
I actually never made you macaroni and tomatoes. Mostly because you're horrified when I point out that technically I do tomato dumplings and there is no macaroni and it involves Bisquick, which of course you can't have now, but you get the point, guys.
Right.
Like the minute I explained the concept, he just looked at me in disgust and went.
There's a fun one.
Joe might do a recipe video.
Joe should do some cooking in the kitchen videos for the Patreons. Like, just have conversation. That's what I do, is I stick them in the cabinet and talk to them.
Oh, Brenda forgot about tomato dumplings. Isn't that a horrible thing to forget about and then be like, oh my God, tomato dumplings. I haven't had those in forever. Isn't it? Like that it's a moment.
It is a moment. I will give you that. It is a moment I check the bank account. It is a moment I check, the cabinets. It is a moment I check the den. And then I go, okay, so something else is up, and I have to go and find out what he's done.
Well, so far, I haven't made them since we've been together.
I get that. I'm saying, though.
Okay.
Okay, it's like if, suddenly there was a new red car in the driveway, I'm quite sure you would have some questions.
Do what?
Well, if suddenly I pulled up in a new sports car in the driveway, I'm sure you would have some questions.
I would probably have questions.
Yes.
Like, was it one sexual act or multiple?
Uh-huh.
I mean, because I assume there's a daddy involved. Like, if you go from if you left the house today and showed back up tomorrow with a new red sports car, that's going to be my question.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that would be your second question.
I have access to the bank accounts.
Yeah, to the business. Yeah, you have access to the main accounts.
Oh, Brenda, you assume that I care who.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brenda's comment is no. Joe would say, who is the new boyfriend that can afford that car? No.
No. He rarely cares about who or when.
I typically assume if they're buying, something north of $1,000 for you, they're down low and there's not going to be any kitchen table in this polyamory.
Baloney.
For them. I'm just saying, and that's not about him. That's the rules in general.
Right.
Oh, Brenda says, I know you don't care about the name. No, I like at that point, like if he leaves for 24 hours or 18 hours, 12 hours, it shows up with a new car. Yeah, there's no point in asking who. That's not going to be relevant information. Like he can go with a generic sugar daddy. Like if there become multiple, he can become new car sugar daddy. Like if we need to
delineate. Yeah, but no, like if I left the house, was gone for 2 hours, drove in a red sports car instead of the white Kia, I'm sure you'd have questions.
Mostly starting with, do you know what bail costs these days?
Yes, I do.
Because I'm sorry, I love you dearly, but I don't know what you could do in 2 hours to buy a car.
Okay, what is it?
That's even remotely legal.
It's called signed loan papers, honey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then he protests as I start dragging him towards the little padded room place, going, no. It's legit. It's you've lost your mind.
Oh, please. You know I'm not going to have a car payment over $250 a month. I refuse.
Oh, unfortunately, welcome to the new world. $250 car payments don't exist.
Right.
They're dead. Fair point, but still illegal. Brenda says, LOL, Joe. My answer was Joe saying, where's the body? Yeah. No, see, that becomes a detriment to my plausible deniability. I also find it irrelevant information to know where the body is.
Yes.
Like, do I need to do a class on irrelevant questions?
Yes.
Like, ask that. Don't ever ask that. Do not ask that. If you get a legitimate answer, you are now culpable. You're an accessory after the fact. Stop it.
Yes. Where's the body? How much is the car? You know, these are questions you don't need answers to.
Don't ask the question.
Yeah. How much was the contract? None of your business. Do we still have the house deed? Good question.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I try to choose my questions carefully.
You should. Especially with me, because I'll give you the answer whether you like it or not.
I mean, among other things, like, there's just some knowledge one need not have.
All right.
Like, I have no problem whatsoever being the crying housewife who's on the 6 o'clock news going, I just didn't know. I didn't know.
Uh-huh. All right. So we have our basics in. We've got our broad spectrum of where we are playing at. We got our morning routines in. We got our dinner, which is technically my breakfast. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have a hot breakfast. That'll be different.
Yes. Real food.
Hey, I like my cold cereal with milk, with Fit Life, and my fresh fruit. It was very healthy. It was like a 9-year-old. Just cartoons suck anymore.
Yes. Like, cartoons have gone places.
Yeah. Like, there's no anvil dropping. Like, what is this?
I know. The classics are all.
Exactly.
Now they have to be education.
Why?
It's like,
Who wants to learn on Saturday morning? Like, if we had children, I would have to go and YouTube their cartoons to go find the good ones like Looney Tunes. All right. Next week's show is going to be a little longer because we're going to be setting up our monthly. But I think our monthly may be simple. Like, I think it may just be an overview of the month and reviewing my goals for the month. Saturday. 1 o'clock, okay. So we're doing something different this month. And we're going to see how the networks treat it. I'm going to be applying on Keen.com the Psychic Saturday discount.
ooh.
Yes.
So y'all heard it here first. You can show up on Keen on Saturday, August 31st, and get your Psychic Saturday discount with On Demand.
Right. But it's Keen.com only.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have an account, you have to go sign up for an account. And the other thing with that is it may only be like 2 of my listings. So you're going to have to look and see what listings it is. If you want I will post the listing on Aeson at Keen.com social. And this is the more and harder part. Psychic Saturday ends at what? 10 p.m.? 11? I think it's something like that.
Technically, we used to end it at 8 p.m., but we've been running it with the schedule.
Okay. We're going to have to end that at 3 a.m. because that's when it's going to have to end on the networks too.
All right. So, yeah. Good deal.
Yeah. Okay.
So, midnight Pacific.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have to try it. But guys, if the network throws a bitch fit at me, I can't do it again. Like, I used to do 99, like, at that time, I think it was $1.99 per minute, and I would drop my price to 99 cents, and I locked the fucking platform up. All of it. Like, I made them crash.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, they weren't too pleased with me.
Oopsies. I don't know. I think they've become a little more crash tolerant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean they crash less. Like, no. Don't mistake my words. But they've become more tolerant of crashing in the last couple of years.
Right.
Because, and I think that's probably an industry thing worth talking about at some point.
Right.
Is the fact that so many of the networks are using, even ones amongst different companies are using some of the same or very similar technologies, especially surrounding their apps.
Right.
And so we run into situations where a problem on, say, one platform also occurs on another platform that would otherwise having nothing else in common.
Right. And see, here's the harder piece of that is trying to explain that these tools, like Aeson Reset Protocol, works on all these platforms. It's so hard for people to get it because they're like, you're not on it, and I was supporting an advisor I'm not on the platform with.
Right.
Okay. And I was like, okay, we're gonna do this protocol. So I'm not telling the protocol. If you want to know it, you can go and book a business coaching session with me. Do this. And it didn't work. And I was like, okay, we know this works because I've done it on that platform before. So I jumped into a meeting with my manager, their network manager. And they're like, why do they come to you? And I'm like, because I fucking know your shit. I built this brand, this brand, this brand, and this brand. I know every bit of the technology. Try me again. And they're like, okay. Well, why didn't, and I'm like, and we already talked to your support. That's stage 3 of my process.
Yeah. Well, and that's becoming and it's not even just the platforms. Let me go ahead and say that before I say the next part, is it's not just the platforms.
No.
It's not the networks. It's the whole world of tech support. So let's be clear, this is an industry thing, and it's a thing I actually have a massive issue with.
Right.
Is that support sucks.
Well,
I don't think there's very many websites left that actually have legitimately useful support.
Right.
That you have a technical issue. You call in, you email in, which most of the time you can't even call in. You have to email or chat. But then the help that you get usually doesn't resolve the issue, and then you have no escalation.
Well,
like, oops, sorry, just doesn't work for you.
Right. Or, they answer you 3 days later. And there's one program that is a fucking problem. And I'll call them out. Like, hold the phone. Aeson's going to tell you the program that's the problem. It is called Flipper. And what Flipper does is it locks on and gives a token. The token is kind of like a coin, and it's passed to your device. It's supposed to release that token when you're done. It's supposed to rotate every 12 hours and give you a new token that it can talk to its mothership. A lot of times, if you're on the website, and Facebook does this all the time, you'll just see the same shit all the time, and it's because Facebook hasn't sent your phone a new coin. So it's just showing the data on the first coin. Does that make sense? Like, did I just confuse most techie people?
Well, I mean, you're in the ballpark.
Okay.
Yeah, basically what it is that you're authenticating, so you're logging in. And it works very much like getting a subway token, or name a thing that needs a token. It is your exclusive right and proof of identity, so you don't have to keep proving that. It's used for a session, sort of like the same way that a token for, a subway or a token for whatever buys you a thing. Well, the thing that you're buying, in air quotes, with that token is your session. So for up to 12 hours, that token is supposed to grant you access. And then at 12 hours, it has to reset. Like, basically your ride's over. If you want to play again, if you want to ride again, if you want to work again, you have to re-up the token. Now, none of this costs money. It's just, that's kind of the analogy that's going on. It's conceptually the same. Just there's no money being paid for that. But what often happens is it's sort of like if you get on the subway on one token and then you end up overworking, or you're still there, or the system just forgets to re-up you. It's sort of like getting to a different station, jumping the turnstile, and trying to get back on the subway. Or ride the next ride, play the next game, whatever. And it doesn't really have, like, really solid enforcement that, no, really, you need a new token.
Right.
It works, sort of. Like, it's one of those, it doesn't play right.
Right.
Like, that's where the analogy starts to fall apart. We don't have a better one. But in theory, it's supposed to all work the same as, like, you go to the subway, you go to play a game, you go to do whatever. Deposit your token, or you get your token. It buys you the thing, your access, and then that expires. Like, the session ends, the access ends, whatever. What unfortunately happens is there's no real good solid coding to force that session to end.
Right.
To be like, no, you're done.
Right.
You can't work till you get new token.
Right.
So it continues to do like an extended play, and the mileage on that is Like, it works for some people for a while, for a day or two. For others, it's instantly a problem. Like, calls get dropped and things don't work like they're supposed to.
Right. You know, and I don't care what platform it is, it's the same thing occurring. And it's like, here's our problem, fix our problem. And then I notice that it's a problem for everyone on every platform, and it has nothing to do with the platform itself.
Right. It's just one of the supporting technologies.
Right.
Is either the same or so similar.
Right.
That it recurrently is an issue. And it's one of the worst ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, it's nothing that like your standard pick up the phone, send an email, start a chat, tech support can fix.
Right.
They don't even have a document guide for it.
Right.
Like, they can't tell you what the problem is. They can't diagnose it through what you're telling them.
Right.
They run you through ordinary steps, and it doesn't do anything, and they don't have a next.
Right.
Like, so they're not really gathering information to send up, and they don't release information down when they realize it's occurred.
Right, because they don't even realize that it occurred. It looks like that you're just still sitting on the, platform, not even checked in.
Mm-hmm.
And, and it really isn't. And it's an issue in two areas. It's U.S. cell phones. Point blank, our cell phone system is so far behind, it's ridiculous. And
well, that gets into the GSM versus CDMA, and there's actual reasons for that. And it's not exactly that it's behind, it's that the implementation for CDMA is totally different and would actually be a larger problem widespread.
Right. But
that's really
tough. Right. But the problem is the software that every business is using is designed, built, configured for European market because, the rest of the world uses the same CDMA or whichever one it is.
Yeah. GSM is sort of the beta.
Right.
Like Betamax, not, but
right.
Like Betamax versus VHS. The world chose VHS.
Right.
The US predominantly chose Betamax.
Right.
In the GSM CDMA debate.
Right. And, so you have to work around that. And you also have to work around, like, okay, this is what, and then, talking people through this. And even like I've talked to managers, I've talked to owners of networks, and they're like, "What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Why does it do that?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but it works." And they're like, and their tech dudes are looking at me like I've got three heads. When I'm saying, here's your issue. And they're going, we don't know how to fix PubHub. Like, yeah, we know it's a problem for US people. We just don't know how to fix it. And it's like, you don't fix it. You provide instructions on how to overcome it. And that, for me, and I meant to ask you this, why is that an issue?
What specific?
For, like, tech people really have a problem when it's like, no, here's your workaround. Use the workaround instead of, ignoring the problem.
Well, from a general standpoint, you would just like to fix the problem.
Right.
Within the tech world, workarounds, it depends upon your tech person, but I will say the majority. Workarounds are typically like an technical, as in not technical, solution to a very technical problem.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that works. It's just kludgy.
Right.
So admitting that you can't work around something or find a solution for it, and that your best solution, answer, suggestion amounts to duct tape, spit, and a prayer, is fundamentally problematic. It sucks when you have to tell clients and do that professionally that, like, look, here's how you fix it. At least, and it's kind of like WD-40 and a hammer. It'll knock it back into operation. But ultimately we can't actually resolve the so professionally it feels very ugly. It's I don't know what to make it akin to, other than, like, the WD-40 and a hammer kind of scenario. But it's sort of like if you bought a very expensive car, and every 20,000 miles or so, you just have to whack the crap out of the engine with a giant sledgehammer. And it's like, yeah, there's a defect in the engine. This is what fixes it. Like, you would be hard pressed as, like, maybe the mechanic themselves would admit it, find it hilarious, but as, like, the shop manager at, like, say, Bentley or Mercedes, you're never gonna actually come out and want to talk about the fact to the general population that you sell this super expensive car, and every 20,000 miles you have to slam the engine with a sledgehammer. Because it's like, what the hell is that? Like, that's what my money bought me, is that every 20,000 miles I have to take this car in, and you're going to whack it with a sledgehammer. Well, with a sledgehammer to fix it. It just doesn't, like, there's the level of what you think you bought versus the realities of keeping it functional. Right. And it's like, yeah, we have to slap it with a sledgehammer. Like, ugh. It's not graceful, it's not elegant, it's not technical, it's not like any idiot with a sledgehammer can fix this engine. It's kind of like that. It really doesn't speak to, like, any build quality, or, you know what I mean? It's just, yeah.
Oh, so it's Kia.
If only Kia were whack it with a sledgehammer.
Well, I used to have this. Well, you've heard me talk about Grand Prix. About every, I don't know, 400 to 800 miles, depending on how much I drove it and how hot it was, I would have to take and replace the it had a carburetor, and 4-barrel carburetor, they get a little yucky, and nobody can rebuild them that we can find in the area. So I just used a clothespin. But every 400 to 800 miles, I had to replace the clothespin, and every time it would shut off, I'd be like, get out, take the clothespin out of the back, raise the hood, take the air filter off, clip it in place, take the old one out, and do it. It was no big deal. But everyone just thought this was insane, and I'm like, I traded a fish tank for this car. What do I expect?
Well, and see, that's where you get into value for your money, and whether an activity seems worth it
Right.
Or what the hell are we doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? But now you traded a fish tank for a car that every 400 miles you have to have, an air filter and a clothespin.
Just a clothespin. Forget the air filter.
Okay, so a clothespin. For a fish tank, that seems like, okay, I'll put up with some crap.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you had traded hours and hours and hours, months, days, years of your life in working for a wage and spent $50,000 on that car,
Mm-hmm.
how long are you going to fix it with a clothespin before you're like, I spent $50,000 for this piece of shit?
Right. Well,
And
see,
that's kind of the technical equivalent of like, we spent how much for a developer to develop this system, and developers plural, to create this system.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me that every 20,000 miles, every so many days, you just have to go in there with a hammer and whack it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really, you know what I mean? Like, now, if they had built the network for, like buying someone a pizza,
Mm-hmm.
and like a bunch of college student developers were handed a pizza and said, hey, make a network. And you had to go in and whack it with a hammer every, few days. That's pretty good value for your money. You're not even going to worry about the hammer. Just,
Right. But
like,
at least
it works. A little kludgy, but it works.
Well, and what gets me is, so a friend of ours has this pickup, inherited it, yada, yada, yada. And every time it rains, water runs into the doors. It's easy to fix the damn pickup. You just open the door, get your drill, and unclog it. And we've told him this a number of times. Like, I've walked him through the process of the port's full. Just go in there and unplug the port, and it'll be okay.
There's a number of vehicles that have a drainage malfunction.
Right.
And it's kind of funny. A friend of mine actually had what was that? One of the last nice Oldsmobiles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the Aurora or something. It was the bigger one.
Right.
Anyway, through the dumbest decision in technical design ever, the drain under, like, you have that little spot where your wipers set on the windshield, like between the windshield and the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Those on cars have drains in them.
Right.
And as a horrible design choice, Oldsmobile decided to run that drain inside the car, down, then back through the firewall, and out the bottom. Recurrent problem that happened on these vehicles, because this was on the passenger side where the drain was that the hose would break. That has come through your dash into your car, and then it has to go out the firewall and the underside of the car. So it would just break inside the car, and snow, ice, and whatever, something happened. The hose broke.
Right.
And so imagine, if you can, you've bought a car. And one day you just get in, and your passenger gets in beside you, and squish, their floorboard is soaking wet. You can replace the hose; it will break again. It's a recurring fix item.
Right.
And fundamentally, once the water's in, all you can do is just crack the window and wait for it to evaporate.
Well, actually, there's other options.
You can go through the extractor option, but I'll tell you right now, as the passenger frequently in this car, after you've replaced that stupid tubing and done the extraction multiple times, you just get over it. Oh yeah, it does that. There's broken tube. As a passenger, the first time it happens, you're sitting there like, wait, what? Yeah, there was a design flaw in my car. It's like the level of like monotone, do not give a crap.
Well, see,
like
this is where me and your friend would differ. Because one, I'd replace the hose, and then I would go and get a coupling hose to go over this goddamn hose. And I would run the coupling hose straight down. And then I would take and I would get my lovely mat that goes into the car, take it out, get me a 3/4 inch drill bit, get underneath the car, make sure I'm not drilling into anything important, and drill me a damn hole.
Well, here's the unfortunate reality, though, is one, what was causing the whole issue is this should have been an external drain.
Right.
As in, it should have never crossed into the physical car.
Right.
The problem is that you would get water in it, like you would be driving, it's winter, you'd get water down this hose.
Right.
And so you get to your destination, your car's nice and warm, you know, you have melting and raining and all this, and then it freezes. And it would, over time, stretch the hose till it bursts. You never knew where it was gonna break. Like, he was lucky it was just a wet passenger floorboard.
Right.
It literally got to a point that someone finally explained to him is that it can break anywhere. This is apparently it runs from the bottom of this drain immediately into the car, and that hose runs all behind the dash. So it can break anywhere.
Right.
It can break behind the radio. It can break behind the computer. It can break anywhere.
Right.
He was lucky where his broke. All it did was made the floorboard squishy.
Right. So this week I decided to go butterflies and flowers again. I liked it. It looks pretty.
It does. Right. It looks very pretty. It's very spring.
I know. I'm very much into spring right now because I'm going in. Someone was teasing me earlier online. They showed me a picture of what it's starting to look like in Australia. They're starting to warm back up. And I'm starting to check ticket prices.
Hey, Emily. No worries on being late. Yeah, he's loving the butterflies too.
I love my butterflies. Like, I need to just order Rom Rom's planner stickers next year. Like, I think I'm going Rom Rom because I looked at everything that we have from Happy and I'm not happy.
That's unfortunate.
Minimont could design better stickers. Just saying.
That's a lot of put up.
Well, I'm telling you, he could design better planner stickers.
I'm sure he could.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a week. Let's take a look at our week and see what it's going to be like.
Emily says they'd at least be more interesting.
Yes.
I'm down.
All right. Interesting. Okay. First up, we have the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is looking at, well, the Five of Cups. I'm sorry. Five of Cups. We're looking at what we don't have. We don't have this. We don't have that. Wah, 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 wah. We're forgetting what we do have and working off what we do have. Okay? Then we have the Five of Wands here. The Five of Wands is taking time to play or fight, your choice. And then we have the Three of Pentacles here, which is people watching you do your work.
All right. Hey, I think your planner could do with Godzilla, Krakens, and various D&D dungeon maps.
Yes, yes. There needs to be some male influence into the planner world, please. I'd be happy with some D&D stuff. Give me a few trolls, a couple rogues. Like, we can design a whole guy hustle squad. And yes, I said the word hustle. Get over it. I hustle. I'm a hustler. Let's go. All right. So this week, you're going to be looking at everything that's not right in your world. Knock it off. Either stop fighting everything or start having some fun. And other people are going to be looking at you going, what did you do? What are you doing? You can tell them what you're doing, like give them the cake recipe, but if they look at the oven and go, it's not baking fast enough, I got to turn the temperature up, or it's not baking, it's not done, I need to bake it longer, is remember, you keep your recipe the same, they can mess it up all they want. Mm-hmm. All right. Yes, there's a new idea for the online shop. 11-year-old or you, I think you would do some gorgeous stickers, Emily. I really do. Like,
oh, I want to go one beyond that. Planner pages. Designed like all of the artwork, which is gorgeous. That goes into a D&D book.
Oh, that would be nice.
I mean, keep it line art. Like, don't go over the top. But that nice pen work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a whole planner built for dudes and gamers.
Yes.
That is an entirely, like, quest-minded planner.
Yes.
Like, I think you would see a lot of very organized people.
Yes, very much so. All right, so let's take a look at the world of operations and how that week's going to look.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm still zoomed in. All right. So, yeah, my Monday starts off fairly normal. It's a pretty normal Monday of the week. And then Tuesday and Wednesday is where it's going to get fun. Because I have an early morning Zoom call with a client on Tuesday. And then I turn around and actually have to do a site visit on Wednesday.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's going to be a fun beginning to the week. We managed to hit both of Invisible's days off. I planned both of these without knowing the next week's schedule.
Right.
So it worked out. Is about all I can say for that. Like I went ahead and took the safety of typically Invisible gets Wednesdays off. So I was like, okay, I can probably do a client visit on a Wednesday without upsetting the apple cart.
Right.
Tuesday, I tried to go very, very early so that wouldn't upset an apple cart.
Right.
But it does get fun when you're having to, like, the earliest they can get their schedule is Thursday.
Right.
Meanwhile, I'm talking to clients on, like, Monday and Tuesday. For the following Tuesday and Wednesday.
Right.
And it's kind of like, roll a dice.
Right. And then, this is the close of the quarter. We're also setting up for September. like we have our meeting on Thursday, planning the quarter during my wake up time. So that'll be interesting.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely should be an interesting quarter. Which, speaking of, that gets us to the lovely question of, do we know yet?
No, we don't.
I was curious.
I know.
Because there's an event that happens in December. And it's like, do we have space? Do we know anything?
It's in the air.
Okay. Still in the air. Okay. I was just curious. I know we're getting close.
Yeah.
Like,
But if we don't hear anything by September, we're not doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the fun of that. Ooh, hand ink the designs, scan them into digital, then get more real and giving a more real solution. Yes, very much so. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I think it would be a gorgeous plan.
Oh, I think it would be too. I think
Like,
dude stickers would be great, and useful stickers would be even more awesome.
Instead of having an inspirational quote section, have it Bard's advice.
Yes.
That would be like have a nice gruff looking old man with a hood and just a little box.
Yeah, and healing potions and little icons. Yeah.
And if you want to talk about gamifying your life. The options would be endless.
Right.
Like you could set it up like in an entire D&D manual.
Right.
I think it would be gorgeous.
I think it would be awesome. We also need to start, we need to decide, the next quarter will be laying out what we're using as a planner. I may go big because, again, I'm just using the notebook for the daily. Like this, going back to the old notebook system, I'm really liking.
Nice.
Yeah. And it allows me to move my hours, to mobile my system without having so much in it. So the next planner is going to be kind of thin.
Good morning, Kira.
Good morning, Kira. How are you? Hi. Yes. And
Emily's thinking, I've seen some products in the past for a fantasy journey-based journal. However, nothing that's specifically tailored to everyday planners.
Right.
I think it would be gorgeous. And you would have some of the most diehard, dedicated planner people out of that.
Because we're tired. We are tired as planner community. With all of it.
And just think, all your social media influencers could be in a guild.
True. That would be awesome.
Like, oh, the fun. Like, I think I could get my sister to take over a guild. Like,
I think your sister would run a guild.
I think it would be amazing. I'm not trying to give Emily another project because I'm sure she needs another project like she needs another hole in her head.
Right.
She works. She works and then she works and then she works some more and then she works more. But I think she would do amazing.
See, even Kira is agreeing.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be awesome. All right. So let's pop this out. This week is going to be busy, but it's going to be fun. We're going to have Metaphysics today at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. Then we're going to have the Psychic Coffee Shop at 8 p.m. U.S. I just realized that all our shows are morning TV over in Australia.
Basically.
Yeah.
Morning to midday.
Yeah. Like that just hit me. And then, of course, Mountain Bears is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time U.S. And, of course, Psyche of the Plans is at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time PS. And that will be our monthly setup. You guys will be seeing what the Psychic Planner for September is going to look like. I think I will probably go big just because, A, I need to use up some big stickers because, of course, the goal is to end the sticker collection and use up as many of them by the end of the year so that, excuse me, I can buy me new ones. We're going to be looking at my new goals for September. We will be setting goals in September. And then I may, in a vlog, film like the compound board and where it's at, and some of the other systems we put in place, and show you guys my new den. Yeah. Like, I need to get back to vlogging, but with the switching of things around, we had to organize that out too.
We've had a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
And prepping for more.
Mm-hmm. Prepping for a lot more, guys. We got the Academy launching, hopefully by October. We've got at least 2 other projects in the fires. And we're bringing you along for the ride and showing you what a real professional psychic's life looks like. And hopefully you're applying it to yourself. Now, I did have, where's my Slacky? The Mind, Body, and Spirits conference for Tunica did come out. And let me go ahead and drop that link.
Oh, yeah. Brenda's loving the theme.
Yes. I watch too much YouTube. That's all I'm going to say about this matter. Music. Okay, I've got to talk to somebody about their SEO.
Oh, goodness.
All right, so here is the webinar Mind, Body, and Soul conference that came out for Tunica. That was out on Friday. I appear up in it and talk about some basic journaling activities. Of course, our Patreons got to see that video early and unedited. So that is up and out. Go and check that out. All right. So with that, let's switch over and take care of there. There we go.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Brenda, Joan Owen, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Caitlin Bell, Devin, and Maria Meyer. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at PCSPNetwork.com.
Yes. And we will see you tomorrow. And if you do join our Patreon, please do it through the website on your computer, not your Apple device. Apple charges an additional fee, so you will be technically paying more because you use your Apple device.
Yep, we try to keep prices low for you guys.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. You guys have a magical day, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.